Welcome to my retirement resource. Hi, thanks for joining me. I am Wayne Wilsinski, and this is the Retirement Question and Answer podcast series on how to take control of your retirement. My goal is for you to better understand your retirement finances and to have the confidence to better manage your advisors and your retirement nest egg. Today's topic and the question, your question, that I will answer today is what can you do to not run out of money in retirement? I will provide 7 steps to avoid running out of money. Let's get started. First, do you know who runs out of money? What is your risk? Well, running out of money usually means that you have used up all of your savings and even your home equity opportunity, and you're basically left with whatever income streams you might have, such as Social Security or a pension. Let's look at these stats from the ERBI for retirees who live to age 90. In the lowest income quartile, 83% of baby boomers run out of money, 28% in the second highest income quartile, and 13% in the highest income quartile. Even people that retire at 65 and only live to 85 have pretty similar statistics, 81% to 8%. Let's look at 4 areas of risks in running out of money. Let's first look at the income side. Maybe you're overly aggressive in investing in too risky of assets. Doing that, could cause you to leave your nest egg with not enough income producing for your spending. On the other hand, if you invest too conservatively with your investments, let's say all in CDs, then your nest egg may provide income that falls short of what you need, either to meet your goals or to leave the amount you want for your legacy. In that instance, probably inflation won out, and your money didn't really grow to the level to beat inflation over time. On the spending side, in this case, you may have spent too much too early, and then you've depleted your retirement funds too fast. Or on the other side, you were too frugal, and you minimized your spending to a point that you barely achieved your goals, or you failed to achieve some in your later years, or you may have not had enough money for your legacy than the amount you desired. Match your income plan and spending to achieve your goals. Okay, what can you do to not run out of money? Here are the 7 steps I mentioned earlier to avoid running out of money. Number 1, develop and manage a documented retirement income plan. Prepare a contingency plan. You want to diversify your sources of income and minimize taxes. Monitor your progress and stay focused on the achievement of your retirement goals, and vary your annual withdrawals to the market trend, whether it's a bull market, bear market, or neutral market. Step number 1, let's go through these in detail. Number 1 is develop and manage to a documented, keyword documented, retirement income plan. Well, why would you want to document your retirement income plan, specifically your income plan? Well, the retirement income plan helps you increase the likelihood in achieving success and also gives you more confidence. It develops your spending and savings monitoring discipline, which is going to be different than pre-retirement, where you had a regular paycheck and you really weren't as concerned about that as you will be now when you don't have a regular amount just coming in, but rather a pool of money that you need to manage over your lifetime. You want to make your money work for you so that you can achieve your goals. You want to seek opportunities along the way, and you want to make sure your money is working for you. And to the extent it isn't, you can make corrections, and you'll have a plan against that to make sure that you'll achieve your goals for those adjustments. And also, a documented plan helps you anticipate and plan your cash flow to meet your spending needs. As I mentioned, this is new for you, and it's something that if you document it in a plan, they will happen. And it could be a variety of events that could cause those spikes in cash flow. All right, number 2 is prepare a backup plan. In other words, have a plan B. Now, the way I would do that is just identify some events that could cause a significant loss that could change your plan. Identify those now. There could be things like having experience in a long bear market, or you may want to provide additional family support that you didn't initially plan upon, or unfortunately a health issue may come up to you personally or your family. So identify those events, and then identify some actions that you would take in those circumstances if those events were to occur. And then, of course, incorporate some actions that you can take now in anticipation of those potential losses that would occur in those instances. Here's some examples. Long-term care insurance, an immediate annuity, invest in inflation-fighting vehicles, downsize or sell your home, relocate to another state, take on a reverse mortgage, consolidate debt for lower interest and payments, or get a part-time job. Step number 3, diversify sources of income. Your sources from where your income is coming from should be different and varied and of different types. Why? Well, if one income stream dries up or is less than expected, the other income can offset this loss of income. This offset can really help you, and the various sources provide more or less income in varying different times of your life and different situations in the market. So diversifying assets reduces that risk. Now you want to minimize taxes and prioritize tax diversification. And the higher tax bracket, the more tax efficient you want to be. And understanding the tax treatment of all your various income sources in retirement is something that you want to do and make planned withdrawals and know when those sources interact, when you rely on one versus another. And not to take both at the same time, you may end up with a much higher income than you wanted, and then more tax. Remember that asset allocation is important for tax efficiency, and understand the differences in your different retirement savings accounts. Essentially, they vary in several ways. Some have different contribution limits, different tax treatment, particularly when you contribute and or when you withdraw. Now, prioritizing tax diversification. Let's look at these 8 steps. I suggest you read the book The Power of Zero by David McKnight. In his book, he covers these 3 buckets where you have taxable income, deferred income, and tax-exempt income. Again, understand these, understand the vehicles in each one of these, and understand how they interact over your lifetime in retirement. You should plan for less in tax deductions in retirement. That's a surprise to a lot of people. But as your lifestyle changes and potentially your income level is lower, you have less opportunity to take those deductions that you've been taking all along. So plan for that. I recommend you view my YouTube podcast on sources of income, pros and cons. It'll help you better understand what goes in those 3 buckets. And you might want to consider relocating to a tax-friendly state that could have a significant impact of your retirement growth over time. Many people consider continuing to contribute or convert to Roth accounts and pay the taxes on that money now and never have to pay it again, particularly when people anticipate that tax rates legally may be going up in the future. You want to contribute to charities from your RMDs. This is money that you're going to withdraw anyway and have to withdraw at certain periods of time in certain amounts. And therefore, you may want to take that to give to charitable contributions so that you get a deduction for the charitable contribution and may offset a little bit in the taxes you're going to pay on the RMDs. And you want to continue harvesting your capital losses to offset gains. Hopefully you've been doing that your whole life and recognizing that when you have higher income, in those higher income years, you want to use your losses to offset that income. I mean, a good example is number 8, where you want to minimize your withdrawals from your pre-tax accounts. You take deferred income, you're taking it out for the first time and paying taxes on it. You want to be careful about not doing that a lot when you have high income years. It could kick you into even a higher tax bracket. So in general, make sure you're using tax and efficient investments in taxable accounts. The investments that aren't tax efficient are better off in your tax deferred or your tax exempt accounts. Number 5, monitor your progress. So we're always looking to achieve our goals. So you want to monitor how you're doing against those goals. And you want to do it in a quantitative, measurable way so that you can track your results against that. You want to review your progress with a coach or a professional advisor. Now, I do my reviews quarterly with my advisors, and I have very specific benchmarks and targets for them to hit with me. As we review these each quarter, we look to see where the overperformance was and where the underperformance was to those targets. I adjust my actions to learn from the underperformance, and I also adjust to gain more from the overperformance and apply that across the portfolio. You should always stay abreast with current tax laws. Your tax professional should be doing this for you. If you do it yourself, you just have to read and stay abreast with those laws. And also the various investments that come out every once in a while and the insurance products that are available. Insurance products have come a long way in the last 20 years. So if you haven't looked at insurance products or annuities in 20 years, you really should talk to a professional that can help see if any of those products can fit into your overall retirement plan and help you achieve your goals and potentially reduce your market risk. And lastly, you have to be flexible to change your behaviors to support the achievement of your plan. Monitoring goals will help increase your odds for success. Number 6 is to stay focused on your goals. Here are some quick actions to take. You want to review your tracking to your goals and objectives. Now, I covered this a little bit earlier, but again, it's something you want to take action to so that you stay focused on your goals. Have your coach help you maintain your discipline. Who's your coach? In this instance, I'm not necessarily talking about a professional or a financial professional. I'm really talking about your spouse or your partner or friend, someone who knows you really well. They can take your temperature on your more subjective, qualitative lifestyle types of feelings and goals and see how you're feeling about achieving those or the stress that you may be having during your retirement in not achieving those. Someone can really help you through that. And then lastly, maybe the most important is celebrate your successes through retirement. You deserve it. You do well. You should celebrate your successes and reward yourself. Again, staying focused on your goals increases your odds of success. Now, this last one is rather complex, but I think it's something that can really help you relieve the stress and also help you optimize the overall use of your funds over your retirement period. This one's from Yale University, the first one I'm going to cover, and it considers market fluctuations. Now, some people simply say, well, if the market goes up, I can spend more, and if it goes down, I have to cut back. Well, that is a simplistic approach, and it's something you could take, but let me introduce you to 2 other approaches. This first one is a calculation that I'm going to walk you through, and if you can follow me, I think you'll understand the benefits of using this type of approach. In year 1, you use the 4%. It's a general rule, or you can use 3% or 5%, whatever works for you. But let's start at 4%, and then you take 70% times the distribution in year 1 plus 2% inflation. So let's say on the right you have $1.5 million in your retirement nest egg. 4% of that would be $60,000, which is what would be your withdrawal spending in your first year, $60,000. Now in your second year, it's 70% times your prior year distribution plus 2% inflation. So over on number 2 calculation, 60% plus the 2% inflation factor gives you $61,200. You multiply that times 70% and hold that number 42,840 as a base. Just remember that number there. Number 3 on the left is you take that initial 4% rate again and you multiply it times the fund value after year 1. In other words, after you've taken out your first year contribution of $60,000 plus any growth or deterioration in the value because of the market. Let's assume that your fund value in year 2 is $1.6 million. In other words, it grew from 1.5 to net 1.6 even after you spent the $60,000. So now in year 2 you start with $1.6 million, and again you multiply times that 4% and you get $64,000 as the number. You then take 30% of that normal number of 4% of the value and you get $19,200. Go back to your base in number 2 of $42,840. Add it to number 4, which is $19,200, and that gets you your year 2 distribution of $62,040. So in effect, you've gone from year 1 distribution of $60,000 to year 2 withdrawal distribution of $62,040. So in a way here, you're looking at your portfolio went up, and therefore you reward yourself a little bit. Instead of taking $60,000, you're taking $62,040, and you're also covered for inflation. So this result is more even than others because it's not as volatile as the market. So during bull markets, like we just saw from year 1 to year 2, or at least an increase in the market, your spending increased faster than inflation. So you get to enjoy some of the benefits of the bull market. But your spending wouldn't rise enough to take away all those investment gains. So it leaves some cushion for the future when the market does come down. The second approach that I want to explain in varying your spending is based upon 4 spending cycles. Now, some of you may experience 3 spending cycles over your retirement period, some 4, but let's cover 4 cycles. In the initial cycle, we're assuming that you're retiring at age 65 and you have $1.5 million in your nest egg. So in year 1, when you're 65, you take 85% of your portfolio and you divide that by 20, and that gets you the number below age 65, $63,750. In your second year of retirement, age 66, you would take that same 85% of your nest egg at that time, but let's assume it's $1.5 million still, and you divide that by 19, and that's where you get $64,253 in your second year at age 66. All right, you continue doing that on and on until now let's look at cycle 2, which is your 4th year in retirement. Again, 85% of your assets in your nest egg, which again we're assuming $1.5 million. You divide that by 17, and at age 68, your withdrawal would be $65,360. Now you continue doing that until cycle 3, which is when you're 75 plus. Now, typically people spend 25% less in their 75 plus cycle. Some say until they're 80 they spend more and then go down to 25%, but it varies by person. For this example, we're just suggesting 25% less spending at 75 plus. So for age 75, again, we're taking 85% of the assets in your nest egg, which assuming is the same at $1.5 million. It will be different, of course, but for this purpose, we're using $1.5 million and divide that by 10. So at age 75, you get the number below. And you continue on doing that until age 85, which is cycle 4. And that's when you're using long-term care and your medical expenses are high. I mean, at that point, you consider buying an annuity, use your long-term care insurance if you qualify, or other means to use your remaining retirement savings from 85 and beyond. And hopefully even at that point, you'll have some money left over for some legacy for your heirs. Now these variable spending models help you change your behavior in your spending pattern. Some expenses can be eliminated or moved to a later time. You may want to put off that auto purchase, or delay a gift that you had planned, or that trip you wanted to take, or even maybe fixing up your house. Now, of course, you can also increase other expenses. So you'll be exercising flexibility in your spending. You'll be doing that throughout your lifetime. And as your health change may occur or the market becomes more or less volatile, you can be flexible and increase the odds of your success so that you have enough funds to meet your goals and not run out of money. I hope this was helpful to you. If so, please click on the like and share buttons. I am Wayne Wilczynski of myretirementresource.com. Let me know of other questions or topics you wish me to cover. In my future podcasts, what I intend to answer are questions like these. Which strategies and investment vehicles will help you reduce your effective tax rate? And whether or not you should start or convert some of your IRA to a Roth IRA. Or if the costs of annuities are really worth the investment return and the deferral of taxes, does it help me reduce my market risk overall? If you wish to subscribe and or see deeper content on many retirement concepts or reports and actions, visit my blog site at myretirementresource.com. I'll leave you with all the best to you and yours, and happy retirement.